Well, hello, I am Deputy Tim Smith, Newton County Sheriff's Office, on behalf of Sheriff Ezell Brown and our CHAMPS team, Deputy Edwards, Deputy Gregg. We are here again talking about peer pressure in conjunction with bullying. Deputy Gregg has already done the video on bullying, and I'm going to be doing the presentation on peer pressure and talking about the effects of peer pressure for our young people. As I consider and will always consider, our young people are champions and they are diamonds. So we like to talk about peer pressure on this morning, and let's jump right into the video presentation, boys and girls, so that we can learn what peer pressure is and how to avoid peer pressure. So what is peer pressure? All right, we're talking about pressure, one belonging to the same group based on age or grade, peer pressure. And the word pressure comes after peer, the application of force to something by someone else that is in direct control with it. So we have those two placed together as peer pressure. And then the final definition at the bottom of the screen, a pressure is someone belonging to your group putting pressure, and I emphasize pressure or force, on you to behave a certain way. And young people, we want to be mindful that we don't want anybody to pressure us into doing something that we should not do. And that's Miss Siri. I guess Siri think I'm talking to them, boys and girls, while I'm talking to you. But peer pressure, again, is someone belonging to a group or putting pressure or force on you to behave in an inappropriate way. And this is big in our schools now because we do have, this peer pressure going on in association with bullying. We don't ever want anybody to pressure us into doing something that we should not do. And I think that we need to keep that in mind. If you know the rules, the rules that your parents give you, the rules that the teachers are giving you, the rules that the administrator of the school is giving you, or the rules that the police is giving you, you should comply and follow those rules as much as possible, and not let a group of kids your age, who may think that they're funny and popular and smart, smarter than everybody else, push you into an area that you should not engage in. And we want you to be safe. We want you to be smart. All right. We want you to follow the rules so that you don't engage in this type of pressure. Now, here are some of the types of peer pressure that we do find. There are positive peer pressures, and then there are negative peer pressures. And then when we look at, the positive versus the negative, I hope that you would, make a good decision on following positive peer pressures versus the negative peer pressure. So here are some of the positive ones that we can look at on this afternoon. Participating in sport is a positive peer pressure, along with joining clubs, beta clubs, spelling clubs, are always good. Trying new foods, is a positive peer pressure. Now, as you can obviously tell, I love to eat. And so I'm going to try some new foods as much as possible. And I certainly can't wait till this ban is lifted. And we're in a day where we're dealing with, COVID-19 or the coronavirus, as you would know it. And a lot of our restaurants are closed. But I can't wait, boys and girls, till the restaurants open back up, so that I can go try this positive peer pressure with trying new foods and doing volunteer work. I like volunteer work. Getting food grades, or getting good grades, getting good grades. And I'm still thinking about food, but getting good grades and showing respect. And you may not see this, boys and girls, but we do have our other CHAMPS instructors here, Deputy Gregg and Deputy Edwards, and they're pressuring me through their silliness. And but I love those guys, and I don't know what I'd do without them. So getting good grades is a good peer pressure. Showing respect. How many of you guys show respect to adults and teachers and parents, because that's a good positive peer pressure. And I think that's one that we really do need to emphasize, because giving and getting respect, is all predicated upon how you give and give respect. Get and give respect. All right. Meeting new people, is a positive peer pressure. That's a great one. Doing the right thing. And I, again, want to emphasize on doing the right thing. I understand that sometimes your friends don't want to do the right thing, but you're champions. And so we want to make sure you, as a champion, are always doing the right thing so that you can have a very positive and successful outcome in life. Being honest is always important and is a positive pressure. Being responsible, all right, that's always good. Cleaning your room, doing your homework assignments, following what your teachers are advising you to do, or your parents are advising you to do when they tell you to stay inside and not go outside. Well, students, we need to follow the directions of our parents, all right? So those are always, and will always be positive peer pressure. Now, let's look at some of the negative peer pressures, all right? Here's a few. Graffiti, writing graffiti and doing drugs is always bad, all right? Committing suicide is a very, big one. And yes, we are seeing, our young people at an astronomical rate committing suicide, but it's because, of bullying, and that peer pressure that gets to our young people. Being racist, being bullied, shoplifting are all negative peer pressure. And vandalizing property, drinking underage. And I know that's a big one too when we get down to vandalizing property and drinking underage. Let's talk about vandalizing property when we just don't have anything to do and we've come to a place of boredom, and because our friends, says let's go and, vandalize and write graffiti and all kinds of things to someone else's property is never good. You can actually, get in trouble for that. And it is an arrestable offense. And so we want you to be careful in terms of hanging around people who are doing anything in this negative category. All right. Drinking underage. And yes, some may think that it's cool to drink, at an early age, but I want you to know that is not cool. That is far beyond cool. And you don't have to drink, in order to be cool or popular. You just continue to be you with all of your intelligence and all of your smarts, and just continue to be you. And you don't have to use, drinking as a way of proving yourself. You don't have to validate yourself to anybody. Mom and dad, our C.H.A.M.P.S instructors, such as myself and Deputy Edwards, Deputy Greg, and the teachers already know that you're smart. So you don't have to, prove yourself to anybody else. Ditching school and cheating, during testing time are never cool, to do. And it just brings about a negative reflection on you as a person. So please, let's remember that our positive peer pressure should always outweigh our negative peer pressures. And again, just continue to do all of those positive things that you should do in order to gain success. Now, the type of peer pressures we have when it comes down to negative peer pressure is allowing your friends to talk to you or talk you into doing something that you don't want to do. And again, I say, my friends, if you don't want to do it, don't involve yourself in what they would rather do. I mean, you have to make up your own mind. Now, I believe that, we all taught the choices and consequences. And for every choice you make, there is a consequence. And I need you to remember that when you make a bad choice, there are going to be some bad consequences from the choices you make. So don't let your friends, no matter, how long you've been friends, and you think you and that friend can talk about everything under the sun and the moon. Don't let them pressure you into doing something bad. And you just saw the negatives, the negative peer pressures and all that goes with negative peer pressure. Be careful and don't let them get you into trouble. When we look at negative peer pressure, it is usually the results of wanting to be accepted by your peers. And as I just indicated a slide ago, that you don't need anybody to validate you. You're smart, you're beautiful, and you got a wealth of things going for you with some incredible parents, incredible teachers, incredible champ officers, incredible principals, an incredible sheriff. So you just got a great group of people around you, that is always pushing you to success. And we want you to be successful. You are our future generation, our future to come as we are getting older. All right. Positive peer pressure is being influenced into doing something that has a positive and a good consequence. And you've just, again, saw the slide where there was some good, positive consequences. And I would, again, admonish that you would get involved with, social activities, youth groups at the church or at the school, some type of photography or filming. You can get into debate clubs, class president or something that's going to always push you, to be positive, and especially in your home and in your community. We are definitely looking for great champions to continue to do great things in life. Avoiding negative peer pressure, here's what you want to do. As you would look at the picture where you see the young man who is preparing to, do some type of graffiti, if you will, on this wall. It's not his property, and he's preparing to do some type of graffiti there. That's a negative peer pressure right there. And you definitely don't want to get involved with a group of people, who wants to go around and vandalize and damage other people's property. Of course, you wouldn't want your property vandalized or damaged by someone else. And I know that you can get angry from that. But here's what we want to do. To avoid negative peer pressure, we want to make friends with those who share the same values as you. You enjoy, playing football or skating or basketball or baseball or something to that degree. You enjoy reading, you enjoy writing, whatever your enjoyment is. You want to make friends, who have the same values as you. You enjoy, movies, or like me, going to a new restaurant or something to that degree. Go find you some friends who enjoy the same values as you. I enjoy going to church. I love church, and I love singing, and I love ministering. And so I'm going to find my friends, in that area right there, because that's just who I am. I love that stuff, and I love reading. So find some friends who share those same values. Avoid uncertain places or situations if you're just not sure about something. Always, consult with your parents in regard to what you're uncertain about, or again, teachers or the CHA.M.P.S instructors about what you're uncertain about, so that you don't get yourself in a predicament that it's going to be hard for you to get out of. Make sure events are, chaperoned, and go with a friend or a group when you're going out to places with other peers of your age, so that again, it is to guarantee that there is someone there with you who is mature enough to ensure that you're not engaging in some type of criminal, involvement. So we want to make sure that you're chaperoned, even if you're going to the movies and, or to the mall, when the ban is lifted, or even to the park when this ban is lifted. You want to be chaperones just in case you don't find yourself with, individuals who are out to do bad things and you're trying to do good things. Introduce your peers to your parents is always good so that your parents can know who you're actually, hanging out with, And if they're good friends and they're not up to anything bad, it is no problem to introduce again your friends to your parents. When my daughter was coming up at an early age, I always wanted to meet all of her friends just to be sure that there was no mischief going on when they would go out to to the movies or to the park or as I said, to the mall. I would always know her friends, and for parents to get to know the friends that your children are hanging out with is really, really necessary. Because there are some kids we just don't know, and we don't know anything about them. We don't know where they live. We don't know their parents. We don't know what school they go to. And we want to make sure that you are safe at all times. And so we have a big regard on getting to know the kids as well as, and if we can go one step further, getting to know the parents. So that's going to be very important in helping us to avoid negativity, okay? So here's some refusal strategies that I need you guys to practice in your downtime, all right? Now, you guys are out of school for a little bit, so you can actually practice this refusal strategy, which, as you can see here, that when you throw up your hand ought to, and though it's not written on your hand, you should automatically be thinking no, all right? No. If approached with negative peer pressure, you just say no. Just like the old campaign where we're talking about drugs, and it is stated that you ought to just say no to drugs, no to peer pressure, no to bullying, no to alcohol, no to any type of criminal activities that may pop up. So just say no and tell a responsible adult. Now, I know that you've probably been in a situation or two like this, and I'm curious to know what your response was, okay? We would ask, you, if you were in front of us, an audience in front of us, what kind of situations you've been in where you just had to say no and what your responses was. But you got your mom and your dad at home, and maybe your grandma, your uncles, or somebody that you can do refusal strategies with, and go to them and just say, what situation you've been in and how you handled that situation. But again, we always say, just say no and tell a responsible adult, okay? That's a part of your choices and consequences. Now, again, remember, when you get into choices and consequences, a good choice will produce a good consequence, and a bad choice will produce a bad consequence. Do not go where the illegal or wrong activity is taking place, all right? That's a big one. You got to stay away from those areas where criminal activity is going on, illegal or wrong activity, okay? And just ignore the comments that make you uncomfortable, all right? Talk about something else if you can change the subject, so that the persons you're with, is not just thinking, of doing wrong or illegal activities. You're a leader, all right? And as a leader, you got to help to, reshaping the mind of those persons you're hanging out with. And so we want to make sure that we're practicing good refusal, all right, activities. And here's some positive peer pressures. Positive peer pressure is being influenced to do something, all right, to do something that has a positive or a good consequence. This is always important, especially as we're out of school and you're on some downtime, and you're trying to figure out what to do from day to day. Listen, do something positive, all right? Go cut grass at the neighbor's house, or, find ways to get involved with sports or reading, something positive that's going to keep, your mind stimulated and you're constantly, learning and growing. Do something positive with your family, maybe do a camping, trip, or, some type of vacationing, if you can, locally. All right, locally, because of this COVID-19, you have to do it locally, and sometimes it's just right there in the backyard. You can set up a camp in your backyard and put you some tents up and start you a nice little weenie roast or something like that, and put you some marshmallows on a stick, something great you can do positive right there in the comforts of your own home. All right. Positive peer pressures can also be a situation when your friends convince you not to do something you were going to do because it wasn't in your best interest. And I agree with that. All right. So, if you got some friends who are really looking out for your best interest, all right, those are the kind of friends you want, and especially when it's going to keep you out of trouble. You got a friend who's telling you that, from internet bullying, putting the wrong message on the internet, it keep you out of trouble, or doing something on the computer that you shouldn't have done on the computer, posting pictures or something that you shouldn't have posted, and you got a friend who's telling you not to do that. I think you ought to listen to that friend. All right, going into a store, and you're contemplating sticking something in your pocket that you didn't pay for, and your friend comes along and says, hey, that's wrong and don't do it. You should listen to that friend, because that friend is really helping you to stay out of trouble. So there's a lot of good friends out here that you can hang with in order to keep, positive and have positive, peer pressure around you. And it really works. All right. So I am special and unique. What makes you special and unique? What makes you special and unique? I'm influenced by. And these are answers that you can fill in again in your downtime while you're sitting at home. And maybe you can get your parents, your siblings to, jump in and help you. And you can even figure out what makes them unique and special all at the same time. So this is a good exercise for you to do while you're there at home. I'm influenced by. What are you influenced by? I'm influenced by my parents, their hard work, and their consistency to take care of home. Or I'm influenced by my teachers, who influence me to do right, or our C.H.A.M.P.S instructors who influences us to do right. All right. I can be a positive role model by, and how can you be a positive role model? That's a good question, and I believe it deserves a good answer. I can be a good positive role model by doing the right thing, staying out of trouble, making good choices, following the rules of my parents, and so on. So you got an opportunity to fill this in. I can improve myself by, and that's another great question with a deserving answer. How can you improve yourself? I can improve myself by not hanging out with the wrong people. All right, that's always good. My greatest accomplishment was, and then talk about that accomplishment that you made. Maybe, in the last month you read 75 books. That's a great accomplishment. All right. When I was younger in elementary, we had a challenge to see which student can read the most books in one summer. And I won that challenge. I read over 100 books in one summer. I mean, I love reading, so I read a lot of different books during that summer, and that was my greatest accomplishment. Of course, then, that's all we had to do was read and play football and different stuff like that. But I enjoyed reading. It was one of the great parts of my life. All right. One characteristic that makes me special is, what makes you special? I would really love to know that. Tell me what makes you special. And you can even because I know that this is going to be on Facebook. You can leave your comment, if you will, or however you want to do it. But what characteristic makes you special? All right? Is it because you smile a lot? Is it because you're smart? Is it because you make good decisions? You make good grades? What is it that makes you special? I will not be influenced by. All right. I'm glad we're at that question, because I really would like to know what you will not be influenced by. I will not be influenced by negative peer pressure or negative people who are involving themselves in illegal or wrong activities. If I had to pick between being negative and positive, which one would you pick? All right. So for me, it's an easy one. I hope it's just as easy for you. I would pick positive. Yeah, I hope you pick positive too. I can almost imagine that, you all pick positive. So we're going to stick with that. All right. I am special and unique. Remember that. And you are special and unique. That's why we do what we do, because we realize that you are special and unique. Okay. And remember, know the difference between negative and positive peer pressure. Telling an adult is a positive choice. All right. Peer pressure can not only affect you, it can hurt you and others. So remember that, believe in yourself and others will believe in you. I really enjoy, what this presentation has to share with us, especially when it comes down to believing in yourself. All right. We must all believe in ourselves. And if we're going to do great things in life, we must remember that we have to remember all of these facts, and especially the one that suggests to and others will believe in you. I really do believe that. And listen at what it says. It says, keep calm and say no to peer pressure. All right. So just stay calm. Remember, one breath at a time, or one step at a time, and you're going to make, the right decisions. Okay, what did we learn today? What did we learn today? We learned what peer pressure is. All right, go back and re-advise and reassure yourself, what peer pressure is. What are some of the examples of negative and negative peer pressure? What are some of those examples we gave earlier in this slide? What are some of the examples of positive peer pressure we gave earlier in this slide? And you want to answer these so that you can always keep up with the answer, just in case you are approached by someone who wants to negatively pressure you into doing something that you should not do. What are some refusal techniques? You remember, just say no. You can use some of those examples that you learned in this slide, again, to talk about refusal techniques. What does it mean that we all are special and unique? All right. Answer that question. And again, challenge your parents and your friends and your aunts and uncles and grandmothers, to help you, to reveal in you also, so that you can help them to reveal in them why they are special and unique. And then lastly, list some choices and consequences as it relates to peer pressure. Okay. And that's going to be your homework assignment for this week. And we certainly hope that you come up with some good answers, as we would all again enjoy this this time of learning in our downtime. This has certainly been a presentation of the Newton County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Ezell Brown, and the C.H.A.M.P.S unit. And we thank you so much for allowing us to come into your homes to share this presentation. Until the next time, I'm Deputy T. Smith, and we'll see you soon.